Why, oh why, did Penn State just forfeit 184 pounds to Arizona State? I'm going to discuss that in this video, as well as a little bit about the match. Now, it was a very, very upsetting match for Penn State fans. For Arizona State fans, what a great weekend for you. I mean, wrestling world has been on fire this year as far as upsets, and this weekend did not disappoint. Now, the thing that a lot of fans, especially Penn State fans, are discussing is why they forfeited 184 pounds to Arizona State. Now, if you know anything about wrestling, if you know anything about Arizona State, you know that their 184-pounder, Zahid Valencia, is not only one of the top wrestlers on their team, but also one of the top pound-for-pound wrestlers in the entire country. So, that kind of plays an effect as opposed to why Penn State may have forfeited. Now, who's at 184 pounds for Penn State? Well, that would be Shakur Rasheed. Rasheed was out this year so far a little bit because of an injury. Last season, he had a torn ACL, still wrestled with it towards the end of the season. That's kind of what we found out postseason, that a couple of his issues were. We know that he did forfeit to Miles Martin at the Big Ten championships, which is one thing that kind of upset me as a Penn State fan, and it's almost leading into a trend which I hope does not continue with Penn State in forfeiting dual meet matches. Now, he did not wrestle during this duel, although he did weigh in. The biggest question that I have is, and I think a lot of fans have, are where was the backup? Why was there not a backup for Penn State? They are the number one team in the country. They have plenty of guys at all these different weights. Why would they either A, come without a backup, or B, not have a backup able to wrestle? Listen, I understand that Zahid Valencia is one of the top wrestlers in the country, but shouldn't we wrestle to find out if, maybe there's a backup who can beat Zahid? And obviously, there was something behind this decision. Kale has made these type of decisions before, and they have paid off a lot of the time. And when I mentioned that maybe there could be a backup that comes out and beats Zahid, it's not crazy, especially when you're talking about Penn State. And that's because Anthony Cassara came out a couple of years ago to wrestle against Ohio State and knocked off Colin Moore, who's the number one ranked wrestler in the country at the time. And that's just something that happened because we wrestled that match instead of giving up the forfeit. And the forfeit, honestly, was one of the biggest. It was the most detrimental thing that could have happened in that match. It was the most detrimental thing that was essentially why Penn State lost. Now, Kale has said, quote, dual meets are important to us. It's the one time you go head-to-head with each team. Ultimately, though, my goal as head coach is to be ready to go for the national tournament. That comes from an interview with the Daily Collegian, Penn State paper. Now, yes, I understand that the mindset is on March, but it's so early in the season. Now, I understand not wrestling Rasheed if he's still hurt, okay? There's no reason to put him out there and potentially risk him getting injured even more. And I'm sure that you agree with me. And please, leave your comments below. I'm sure that you wrestling fans have a lot to say about this match, and especially this forfeit. It's very controversial within the wrestling world right now. Now, Penn State's backup, just to tell you who is there, is Creighton Edsall. Edsall was 3-2 on the season so far. He won his first duel against Navy. Why not put him out there? I mean, his goal is obviously not to get pinned, not to get tacked, and then in that case, Penn State could win the duel. Now, the thing is, will Penn State be pulling this again? Will they be forfeiting matches again? Well, I certainly hope they don't do so against Ohio State. I certainly hope they don't do so against Arizona or against Iowa. It's just an upsetting trend that I've seen happening, and we'll see if it continues on. Listen, as a Penn State fan, it's upsetting to me, but I'd love to hear what you have to say.